Rainbows for All Children has a vast network and community of passionate individuals who herald our mission to provide free peer support groups to youth around the world. We got the opportunity to sit and chat with some of them through a series of interviews. Welcome to the Rainbows Chats. After the storm, we shine.
That I started doing some volunteer work with the youth ministry group at St. Thomas. And that kind of opened the doors to this program. Once I became a school counselor, she's like, do you want to run a group? And I'm like, what? Can I do that? Are you sure? And I'm like, this is lovely. Great. I was home with my baby, my second babies. I was home with both boys. And it gave me an outlet to continue counseling without, not losing my own sense of self. So it was really awesome to be able to give back. And I look forward, and I'm working now at the Mama's Beach, as a volunteer, as a coordinator, and loving it. So you have to have a passion for this program. You really do. You need to understand it, the strengths behind it, and really, it's not just about grief. And I think a lot of families and parents and the community out there sometimes mix that up. It's not a therapeutic group. It's not that kind of group. It's more of a support. You're talking in the lens of a teacher counselor, so not only was I able to see the lessons, the way they laid them out, and the way they were developmentally appropriate for each level, it is amazing how you guys did that. It was amazing to me that as a teacher perspective, looking at it, anyone, whether you're a teacher or not, could be a facilitator, and make the ease of that. Really, I think for some going into it, they have so many questions because I right now have 2 facilitators on hold wanting to go through the training. And when I talk about it, it's like, really, you don't have to be a teacher to know what to do. It really lays everything out. And it's even more detailed. I also love the fact that they give you more of like those affirmations at the end. I love that because I think as a counselor, we always try to instill in our students to do that. So now you're leaving the kids with something, but even the parents. Right now, I facilitate the parent group, even though some of these families we do now that we help have been through the program several times. But every single time, you need to have them leave with that sense of like, I'm leaving with something, a skill, a strategy, even if it's something that might be tough for them to discuss, or for the kids' sake, it's done in such a different way. So that connection of those, how developmentally appropriate the lessons are, and then the parent perspective and how they connect, because then the parents have an opportunity to speak to them. Oh, how was your night? What did you do? Oh, yeah, so we talked. It gives that common ground for them to have those conversations, when sometimes it's tough to have because both are having their own emotional feelings about it. I do feel like 2 per group is essential, I think, because you can feed off each other's personalities, feed off each other's ideas, the contribution of like what a child's saying or how to phrase something for a child to elicit more response to whatever the objective is. A lot of the families that we service are not just on a death of a lost loved one. It's actually in regards to a foster care situation, or there was a child that did start Septembers ago, and her grandmother had custody of her. The father was actually away completely. We don't know where away was because it was never specified. And the mom was incarcerated. So the child was going to see mom at Rikers. The child was having like issues, and so was the grandma. I'm like, she's having nightmares. Of course she would, because she's really going to a heavy duty prison, stuff like that. So that in itself makes it a little bit hard sometimes in groups, because yes, you're dealing with the objective, but the objective for each of those family members are so different. That loss is so different. They have to be ready and willing, and the objective of that still is standard. And I say that usually at the beginning. Remember, we're here because, of a loss. That loss could look like a parent, a grandparent, it could be deployment, it could be, a loss of employment. It could be many different things. And we do run the gamut between divorce, which is standard, right? A loss of parent, again, standard. And then we have those other extremities that I just shared with you that are just different. This is not a therapeutic type program. If that child or your loved one needs that kind of higher level, as a counselor, I'm going to tell you that. And I probably won't tell you that after like maybe the first, second, or third session, but you yourself would see that too. Because the support we give them is that they have another child in their group that's feeling sad or feeling upset or feeling lonely, whatever that emotion is. And that's a connection. But are they really sitting there talking about their mom's in jail or my dad, like, you know, my mom, you know, died because of this or whatever? No, they're not doing that. They're not going into specifics like that. They're really dealing with whatever emotion's going on and how to deal with that and looking at that lesson very like methodically. And then we also had parents that after a while they're left because, wow, we got what we needed out of this group. And they came so many times that's also bittersweet because you love seeing the growth, and then you don't want to see them go because they become part of like the Rainbow's family. They do. What we see is that development we see that personality come out. So that person that came in very timid, quiet, no, and then ends up coming in and, hi, where's my stack? Okay, and then grabbing and being so joyous and being a kid, let's be honest, is so nice to see. So very quiet, very reserved the young man was, wouldn't say much of anything, always had a grump look on his face. And from when I started and a year later, amazing. He has personality, he's welcoming kids in, he's coming in with like trying to be a jokester that we actually had to do the reverse instead of saying like, okay, trying to crack his shell. We're now cool your jets with the jokes, okay? Like simmer down. It became that kid. Like, and I don't know which one, I honestly love that better than the other, obviously, because sometimes it's hard to crack a quiet kid that you don't crack that like special, when are we gonna get that? Love the podcast. I've shared that with our families. I think was awesome. I even shared it with my elementary counseling staff because I do feel some of it is, I mean, I don't know if they use it or not, but I have shared it. And anything that's like in the area, because I am connected to some of the other grief type support groups. So if there's anything program wise, but for the most part, the podcast has definitely been something I have shared. I myself, in the last 3 years, lost someone significant. We lost my mother-in-law, who's been like a second mother to me since 1997. So to lose her in the last 3 years was significantly hard for all of us, for every reason. You know, having that coming back to the group was actually for me, it was good timing, even with that being said, like, because when they're going through the loss or they're talking about the loss, I feel their pain because I know I've been it. And when I always felt with my role as a leader, you have to be able to understand what they're going through. Yes, I may not understand the divorce perhaps, but I do understand that loss that the kid might feel. I may not understand about incarceration, but I do understand that sense of where's my mom and dad, why aren't they with me feeling, right? That lonely feeling. So that feeling of loss does run its course for any kind of situation. And I think that's also been very in my own self there. And I don't want to use that word therapeutic because I just said no, but it is for me because of the role I play in my everyday.
Thanks for watching this installment of the Rainbows Chats. Follow us on social media and join our mission of creating communities of young people who are facing loss and uncertainty so that no one has to grieve alone. Together, we can create a world where after the storm, we shine.